What's up, guys? It's your boy Zowoki, back at it with another Chris Watts video, and today we're looking at Unapologetically Me, True Crime's recent video. Apparently, this is explosive information, and we're going to look at it together with explosive eyes. I don't know why I'm still doing this, but we're going to be watching her video of the Watts family annihilation, part 4. Phone records don't lie. Mysterious contact number 2. I don't know if I need to watch number 1, but we're going to watch this one first and then use the other one kind of like a prelude. You know what I mean? So grab a chair, get comfortable. Also, don't forget to subscribe by hitting the white bar icon down at the bottom right. Hit the bell icon next to it so when I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that I've posted that video. And then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, thank you guys so very much for that love and support that you guys show on my channel. We are almost to 70,000 subscribers. And then show that same love over at Unapologetically Me True Crime. Give her the love where it is due. We're trying to get some work or get in the works of a collaboration. So look forward to that. So subscribe to both channels, turn on notifications. And with that being said, let's get into the video. Oh, it'd be nice if I had some audio.
Boop. Everyone knows the name Chris Watts, the monster behind one of the most...
And there are still people that don't know about this case, that are finding out about it just now.
...disturbing family annihilation cases in recent history. But what if the story you think you know is missing something?
Oh, it is.
What if the mistress at the center of it all, Nicole Kessinger, played a bigger role than anyone's been willing to admit? In this series deep dive here at UMTC, we are peeling back the quiet, calculated layers of this case and asking questions too many people have avoided. Because when you look closely, silence can be just as damning as a lie.
Ooh. Oh, gross. I hate that giggle. It's me. I missed your face. Now take that face. Suspenseful.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Unapologetically Me True Crime. If you are new here, I'm so excited to have you here. I hope you guys stick around and become part of the UMTC fam. Here, we dive headfirst into the dark underbelly of crime, decoding old cases where there's a lack of complete justice, sometimes looking at new cases as well.
Huge of lacked justice.
Here we break down evidence as well as forensics, all in the hopes of getting to the bottom of things, the truth. For my current subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing and continuing to come back and support the channel time and time again. Thank you for your comments and always liking the video first thing. Yes, I can tell. For my members, thank you so much for choosing to support the channel monetarily. It really helps me out. Especially.
And thank you very much for my members as well. I can't thank you guys enough. I'm about to make a video here soon about you guys. So if you'd like to join. You don't have to. Just another way to help out the channel. And if you guys would like to help her out in joining her membership, you go ahead and do so. It used to say join with a blue button. Now it's the subscribe plus icon.
When they're small channels like myself and they talk about very controversial things like myself. Every little bit helps with the cost of creating these videos that you guys have all grown to get excited about. This video is part 4, episode 2 of the Watts family annihilation deep dive. If you are just tuning into the series, I of course would recommend you going back to the beginning, especially because part 4 is mainly about things that have not been talked about before. We're going through Nicole Kessinger's remaining.
And I've watched a lot of her videos before in the past, so if you would like to go check those out, they're in my crime playlist. But if you like to watch from the beginning and just with her, I definitely understand. no heart, no lost feelings, or as you will.
Phone records after Chris Watts' confession and before his plea deal forever changed the outcome of this tragic case.
And for those police members out there, again, I can't say for 100% certainty because I'm not a professional, but stop giving the freaking bad guys plea deals. I know sometimes it helps, like if they want to find the body or whatever, they'll give them a plea deal to search the location. But this man didn't need a plea deal. Oh my gosh, it just upsets me when they get plea deals.
I would at least encourage you to go back and watch episode 1 of part 4 if you want to just pick up from here.
Which, if you guys want me to watch that one, I will highly do so. I just when I saw that it was like an hour and 30 minutes, I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna do the 30-minute one first. But if you want me to do part 1, episode 1, comment down below.
Of course, you can do whatever you want. I'm not trying to be bossy. Here's a quick recap of episode 1 of part 4. In going through Nicole Kessinger's Verizon call history from July 2018 through September 14th of 2018, there were some names that showed up more than once. In part 4, we're looking into those.
One of those being Jim. And yet they actually left Jim alone. Why?
Names, because I had a gut feeling that we should. And when I started searching, I started noticing patterns and information about these individuals that stood out to me. One of those names was a man named Gino Shvedov. This is probably a great time to let
Gino Shvedov?
you know that I do pay attention to your comments because that's how I found out about Gino.
Whoa, he looks like he's a jacked MMA fighter. Interesting. I look like that in the army days. Not so much anymore.
You know, to begin with, because the phone number of this individual has, up until now, been identified as Hazelbrook Sober Living, based on the timeline of the communication between this phone number and Nicole Kessinger and
Birthday cabin?
What Chris Watts was searching for online at the exact time. There's a strong reason to believe that Gino may have been the source of the oxy Chris claims he gave Shanann. But that is entirely speculation, and it is just one piece of the puzzle.
People still think that Chris Watts' sister is the one that gave the oxy because apparently she's a nurse. That's why he wants to keep it to himself. That there's things that he has said that he'll take to his grave. So who knows if it was from Nicole, because Nicole was Googling oxy side effects and so forth. His sister is a nurse, but again, it's all alleged. We can't prove it because they didn't actually talk to Nicole Kessinger.
Because while all of this was happening, Nicole Kessinger was also in communication with other people. She was in communication with another man, and this time the clue is a vehicle. Here's a short recap on what we learned about Gino in episode 1. We learned that he is a Russian immigrant who moved to the US at the age of 3, and he grew up in Aurora, Colorado. Gino went to the same high school as Nicole Kessinger and would appear to have run in similar circles in high school. Eagle Crest High School in Aurora, Colorado.
Wait, hold on.
To the same high school as Nicole Kessinger and would appear.
So Nikki Kessinger, what the fudge?
Appeared to have run in similar circles in high school.
They went to the same school. So did this guy get part of that that giggle pickle tickle?
Eagle Crest High School in Aurora, Colorado. Now that high school was not a very big high school. Chances were that if you went to that high school, you would at least know of the people.
Okay, so here's Nikki's childhood home. But who is Gino?
Around you. That, of course, is entirely speculation. However, we did learn in the last video that Gino ran with a tougher crowd. He talked about it. He admitted it. You heard all of it straight from the horse's mouth. The party crowd. the fun crowd, the crowd that got into drugs and alcohol and really just wanted to enjoy their teenage years in not a very constructive way. We know for a fact that Nikki had gotten herself into some trouble in her high school years as well. There are court documents proving this. There are also police reports proving this, such as this one that Plunder uncovered years ago. You can pause to read it in full because I'm just...
And then people were saying that this was fake. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys on?
Gonna glaze over it so you can see exactly where my opinion has come from. And we've gone...
And all of this went away.
Over these charges in other videos, but I never read the police report to you guys for the charges. So this police report is from an incident that occurred on June 8th of 2007, where Nikki was charged with a few different things. The first charge was disturbing the peace / loud,
disorderly conduct, obstructing peace officer or fireman. Hoy.
Unusual noises. The second was disorderly conduct or failure to obey order. And the third was obstructing a peace officer. She was arrested on all 3 of those charges and she was released on a cash bond. She was also charged with possession and consumption of alcohol by a minor. And those are the charges that I have shown you in the past. And we also looked at a Facebook post alleging a stabbing incident.
Oh, this one. I'll read for the people that can't see him, okay? So what does it say there? It says, asked to watch Barb with Rob's home while they were away on vacation with instructions that Nicole, under no circumstances, was to be inside the home while they were away. My wife and Nicole's younger sister, who was staying with us, went by to get more clothing. My wife and her walked in on Nicole and a guy having blank booty on the couch in the family room. After doing her best to try to remove both to no avail, she called me. Long story short, a physical altercation occurred between the male and myself, in which during the altercation, she blanked me in the back with a kitchen knife, pulled from the butcher's block. My wife interceded, getting the knife away, and both fled, but both were quickly arrested after my wife called 911.
That happened that I want to say it was Edward from Behind Criminal Minds. Actually,
love Behind Criminal Minds.
Man who posted that, and I mean, obviously we can't prove it, but this man did say that this happened, and the families never talked again.
Sounds like NK.
And you know, so it hasn't been proven, but I believe it. You guys can take that however you want to take it, think whatever you want to think. This is the police report made by Officer Roberts, who was the arresting officer. Again, you can pause to read this in full, which I pretty much will be reading it in full up until the end. So here it goes. I was on routine foot patrol around 12:40 a.m. when I heard loud music and yelling. I was approximately 100 yards away in a parking lot on the other side of an adjacent apartment building. As I approached, I could see through the back sliding glass door that there was a party. I went to the front door and I knocked. The music was so loud that they did not hear me knocking. I then banged on the front door again. A few seconds later, the music was turned down a little bit, and I heard through the door someone say, "Shh, it's the fucking cops." I then heard the deadbolt lock turn. I knocked again. No one answered. I knocked a third time and said, "Open the door or you are going to make things worse." The music continued to play and I could hear people talking and laughing. At 12:55 a.m., I called for a patrol unit to assist me. While I waited for the cover officer, I stood approximately 25 yards to the west of the building so I could see if anyone attempted to leave through either the front or back door.
Smart,
As
please.
I stood there, the music and yelling continued. Officer Punich arrived around 1 a.m. We walked to the back sliding door. The vertical blinds were pulled open and we could see directly into the apartment. Not very smart. You're throwing a party and you have the blinds wide open and the cops already at the door. Like, you would think the first thing they would do is run and shut those blinds, right?
Right.
As we walked up to the door, the parties inside the apartment saw us standing there. A male was sitting at the kitchen table with two other males and a female who appeared to be much younger. There were also two females and another male standing in the kitchen. I observed a bottle of whiskey and a shot glass on the counter, which the male quickly picked up and hid. The male was also smoking something, but I could not see what he was holding, but it appeared to be marijuana,
Bark.
not a cigarette. I told Pearson, which must have been whoever's apartment it was, to open the door so we could talk. He just looked at us and smiled. I again told him to open the door. He stood up and asked why. I explained that I am giving him a lawful order to open the door because the music is still loud and I can see alcohol and no one looks old enough to be drinking. Pearson then walked over to the TV and turned the music off, but still refused to open the door. I told him if he does not open the door, I will break the glass. At that point, he asked if we had a warrant. I explained we don't need one and that he needs to open the door immediately or
They don't need to have a warrant if they can see that people are younger and there's alcohol. That gives them the right to check.
he will go to jail. I could hear everyone inside the apartment, and the two males who were sitting at the table continuously told Pearson to open the door. Those males were later identified. At one point, I told Pearson to listen to his friends and open the door, but he refused to open the door. He then walked up and tried to close the vertical blinds. At that point, I swung my baton with medium force, striking the glass door, hoping to get Pearson's attention so he would open the door. He stepped back and stood there. The entire time we were standing there, a female, later identified as Nicole Kessinger, was telling him not to open the door. At one point, Pearson looked as if he was going to come outside, but then Kessinger grabbed his arm and told him not to open the door. I gave Pearson several more lawful orders to open the door, but he refused to comply. At that time, I made the decision to bust the glass door. I was concerned for the safety of the other females who were inside the apartment. There was underage drinking and what I believed to be drug use, and it was unknown how many other people were in the apartment and what their ages were.
Well, a bedroom.
As soon as I busted the glass, a strong odor of marijuana came through the door. When the glass busted, the parties started running towards the back of the apartment. I immediately drew my weapon and ordered everyone outside. Pearson and Kessinger were immediately searched and placed into custody. The other parties were brought out, searched, and identified. And this is where you can pause to read the rest because I'm just going to skip ahead to the end of the report now.
Okay.
Kessinger and Pearson were taken to APD jail and bonded on failure to obey, disturbing the peace, and obstruction. At the jail, Kessinger made the voluntary statement, quote, "The alcohol and marijuana were brought there. They weren't ours," unquote. Isn't that what they all say?
They always
It's
say
not
that.
mine.
It's not
While
mine.
Pearson was
It's not my pair of pants, but I was wearing them. It's like, what?
waiting to be processed, he made this statement to me, quote, "What you did was unnecessary. No wonder people call cops pigs."
Or you could have just listened to them, talked to them, and gone about your night.
So that's Nikki and the type of people that she hung around with at that time. It would appear that there were some others there having a good time as well, but they were respectful and cooperated with law enforcement when asked. Nikki and this other fellow did not, and that's why they ended up being arrested. Now, this is in 2007. Nikki would have just graduated high school, so she was probably 18 at the time. Now, something that we know from public record is that Nicole Kessinger did graduate from high school, and she went on to community college and eventually Colorado State University and received her degree in engineering. So she definitely did not get sucked into that life the way that Gino had, finding himself in and out of prison, always charges being worse and worse.
did she date Gino?
Each time. Now, I don't know if Gino or any mutual friends of the two were at that party I just read about, but that wasn't the point of me reading it. The point was to show the character of Nicole Kessinger and how it appears similar to how Gino described himself at that age. This connection between Nikki and Gino makes sense to me. I'm going to show you a photo of Nicole Kessinger with two other people from Nicole's younger years. I'm not sure how old she is here. I would guess early 20s if I could, but I don't know for a fact. In this photo, these three seem to be having a good time. Later on, I noticed a photo of Gino as I was doing research on him in the middle of two men after a win of one of his MMA fights. Now, I can't be certain, but the guy in the photos with Nikki looks a lot like this guy in the photo with Gino. This photo with Gino was taken in 2017, which would have been about 5-ish, maybe 7 years after this photo with Nikki was taken. Again, I'm only speculating. So there would have been some aging here. I don't know, you guys.
I don't think that's the same person, but that's just me.
Guys, what do you think? Because if this is the same person, then we can tie a friend between Gino and Nikki, as well as the phone communication and the high school and the extracurricular activities during the high school years. Take a look again. You won't hurt my feelings if you don't agree. Let me know what you think in the comment section. But no matter what, as I was saying, the connection makes sense. It would make sense to say that Gino and Nikki likely knew each other since at least high school. I can't prove it, but
NK Gino and Gino grew up on the same street less than a mile away from each other. That's the same street? I thought that's the same street.
It would make sense. The person that we're going to talk about in episode 2, however, doesn't really make sense. Or at least he didn't make sense to me at first glance. This man, whose identity I have already revealed in episode 1, I will be revealing again shortly, was in communication with Nikki the same amount of times as Gino was. More than once, they were in communication on the same day.
So they knew each other.
As Nikki was talking to Gino after Chris had confessed. Like I said, I told you his name in the last video. He is a 66-year-old man named William Biscay. Now, I do want to reiterate here, Nikki had a lot of communication with a lot of different people, especially after Chris's confession. She was talking to law.
So who's this guy?
Enforcement. She was no doubt talking to lawyers. But she was also talking to friends and family way more often than she usually did. You can see the phone records change.
Wow, she went through here and she talking to friends. Holy cow.
Way more.
Unknown, Chad, Catherine. Wow, she went and just sister.
More often than she usually.
I mean, she's talking to Jim and Chris Watts a lot.
Did. You can see the phone records change drastically.
Chris Watts, Chris Getman, dad, mom, Kevin Koback after the murders. Who's Brittany Grasmick? Interesting. Mark Lear, the FBI. Canine cop.
After Shanann and the girls went missing. But William Biscay was in Nicole's history before the murders as well. And that's why we're going to take a closer look. Who is this guy? What connection would he have with Nikki? Or was he a family friend? He is about the same age as Nikki's father. He's also the same age as another man that people have spoken about with regard to this case, a man by the name of Robert Idsardi. Now, Robert is going to be for a different video because people have already touched on him quite a bit, and I've researched him as well, but I mainly want to talk about people that have not been talked about before first. So the first communication that Nikki had with William that we can see in her phone records was on Saturday, July 21st, 2018. This call came in at 11:50 a.m. and they spoke for 45 minutes. As you can see, this was the first call of the day, and just after hanging up with William at 12:46 p.m., Nikki calls her mom and they speak for 6 minutes. Shortly after talking to her mom at 1:05, Nikki calls Jim and they speak for 28 minutes. Then at 2:59 p.m., Nikki calls Jim again for just 2 minutes. At 4:26 p.m., Chris calls Nikki, and after that, Nikki only has one more call in her Saturday, July 21st call history, which so far doesn't seem to put up any red flags. To me, I think it's probably a friend. So what happened on July 21st, 2018 in the timeline? Does anyone remember? We just went over it in the last video. Yes. Vandermeer Speedway. We also have those searches from Chris about the Oxy earlier in that week and a CVS pharmacy near Nikki's home the day before. Once again, the timing of communication is interesting. Could this just be a coincidence? I mean, it could be, absolutely. Please remember, if you are watching these videos in live time, I am researching for each video now. Nothing is pre-scripted. I am scripting as I'm researching, so I am finding certain information out as we go. These names raised a red flag to me during prior research, and I made notes to come back and look deeper into them, essentially leaving no stone unturned. Again, this is all—
I'll say this woman knows how to deep dive. Deep dive indeed.
Speculation based on evidence that we have. Everything is public record, and all research I am doing originated from the 1,960 pages in the discovery. Okay, just got to protect myself, you know? So, the next communication with William is the next day, July 22nd, 2018. Nikki calls him at 11:04 a.m., and the call is just 3 minutes long. Kind of seems like a check-in type call, you know, 3 minutes. 11:12 a.m., William calls Nikki back for just 1 more minute. Right after that call, Nikki makes a call to another friend, and then Chris at 1:54 p.m., and they talk for 54 minutes. Again, this is the day after Vandermeer, and Nikki says in her interview with Kobach that after Vandermeer, they went back to her house. So this is just speculation, but Chris could have spent the night over at Nikki's. So was he there when these—
Well, he said he was pretty much there almost every single night.
Phone calls were made? That would certainly be one of the questions that I have. After this, there are no calls between these two until Tuesday, August 21st at 6:27 p.m. William calls Nikki and they speak for 6 minutes. This call is just before Nikki's scheduled recorded call to Detective Kobach. It is also the day that Chris is formally charged with the murders. Wednesday, August 22nd, 2018, William leaves Nikki a voicemail. Then the next phone call she gets is from a number linked to Gino, and that call is 13 minutes long. The next call is from Detective Kobach and is 7 minutes, unrecorded. And then her dad, and then another unrecorded call from Detective Kobach. She then talks to Brittany, her sister, Detective Kobach, and then right after she gets off the phone with Detective Kobach, William calls again. It's 5:30 p.m. and they talk for 4 minutes. Again, it's a pattern. It's where certain people are located. She's talking to people who we know are close friends or family, and then in between them are people that we're trying to figure out, why is it there? At first it was, why is it Hazelbrook Sober Living? And then we find out, well, it's not necessarily Hazelbrook Sober Living. It's linked to the owner of Hazelbrook Sober Living, someone she went to high school with. You know, and now we have a phone number of a 66-year-old man. Like, why are you talking to a 66-year-old man? And, you know, so I just wanted to look deeper into it. And did I find anything out about this connection with William Biscay that I thought was suspicious? Maybe. I'll let you decide. I initially looked up the phone number on Nikki's Verizon bill, and that's what led me to the name William Biscay. I saw that he was 66 years old, so at first I didn't think too much about it. I thought maybe a random call for whatever reason. Nothing to see here. But when I came across the number a few more times, and then I looked at the other communication around this man, that is what prompted me to look further, just out of plain old curiosity. And I found that William, aka Billy Biscay, according to public records, owned a vehicle at the time that matches the exact description of a suspicious vehicle spotted near the Watts home. A vehicle neighbors say didn't belong to anyone on the block. You may remember in body cam footage taken from the early days of the investigation, police spoke to a woman and her 2 sons who lived near the Watts home, and what they told police was a bit unusual. They described seeing an older Ford pickup truck. They described it as being gray with a gray camper shell, and
which we thought would be a Dakota or Dodge Dakota instead, which was Nicole's. But let's listen to what she said.
They said it was parked on the street. They described a man who stepped out of this truck wearing a hoodie and a baseball cap turned backwards. They told police the man dumped out a beer can and left it and then came back later and picked it up. The family said they thought it was strange. So strange that they specifically remembered the truck, the man, and the beer can. Take a listen.
We're sitting down here in this gray truck. He dumps out his beer can and then leaves it there, goes down around the block, comes back, picks it up and kind of tears out of here. We're like, what is that about?
In a gray truck?
Yeah. But I was like, you're going to dump your beer can and then you're going to come back for it when the cops are sitting right there?
Right.
That was weird.
Did you get a good look at the guy or no?
Yeah.
He
Roughly. If he did, that's fine.
had a backwards cap on,
Yeah.
a hoodie.
Yeah, maybe 20s, 30s.
White male? Okay.
White male.
Did the truck say anything on it?
The gray truck with the camper shell.
It was a Ford.
How old?
The Ford.
Yeah.
Ford?
Mm-hmm.
Did they have the camper shell? What color was it?
The camper shell?
Uh-huh.
It was
Tinted
same
windows?
color as his
Yeah,
car.
it was gray too.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, that was the only weird thing we saw tonight. We're like, what?
Newer, older?
It was an older model Ford.
Older
Not one of the
model
newer ones.
Okay.
Now, in my opinion, that matches the exact description of a gray 1994 Ford Ranger extended cab, frequently seen with a camper shell. This is what the vehicle looked like. That description, in my opinion, is not kind of similar. It's not vaguely matching. It is my opinion that it is a nearly perfect match to what the neighbors described. The odds of that being a coincidence while Nicole is speaking to this man in the weeks leading up to the murders and after the murders feels incredibly
That's suspicious.
small. And remember, this wasn't just a truck being spotted casually in the area. This was a truck parked near the Watts house in the middle of a homicide line. A truck whose driver acted suspiciously enough that the neighbors remembered it, told police, and even recalled what the man was wearing. Now, the one son mentioned getting a license plate number for this truck.
ANJ
And
822.
And when I looked it up, it came back as a Jeep Renegade. So not a truck at all. And actually, when you look at a Jeep Renegade, I mean, you can tell this is a Jeep.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or
Swapped
buts
plates?
about it. This is not a Ford. This is not a Dodge. This is not any other type of vehicle. It's a Jeep. Tell that. It's certainly not a Ford truck. And they specifically said that the truck was old. It was an older.
I would say this is a 1994, so if they were back in 2019, yeah? I mean, you can tell the difference between a Ford and a Dodge, okay?
Model. It was not one of the newer trucks. And when I looked up any other license plates that sounded close to the plate number that this kid gave, it came back with 0 hits. So Unfortunately, we don't have a plate to bounce this off of, but I do
Or if somebody swapped plates. I mean, people have done it before.
have the VIN number of William's truck, which is how I know the make and model and year of the vehicle. So
Older style
now
truck.
the question is, why was someone Nicole was in contact with potentially parked outside of Chris and Shanann Watts' house, acting like he didn't want to be seen in the middle of a missing persons investigation?
Did Nicole have spotters? Huh.
Because at the time that truck was seen, Shanann and the girls were missing. Was this man just passing through? Was he helping Nicole keep tabs on the investigation? Was he there the night of the murders? We don't know for sure. But here is what we do know. Nicole Kessinger was in communication with this man. The vehicle this man had a connection to matches a vehicle described in a very specific and very damning witness statement. And this vehicle was mentioned as being seen in the neighborhood under suspicious circumstances. We can call it a coincidence, but I call it a pattern. Now, before you go off and say, oh, well, this is all speculation, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know it is.
We know!
Okay? I know it is. I can't prove any of what I just said, no matter
But you know how to prove it? Bring NK in to talk to her.
how coincidental it would appear to be. And that's the problem with this case. Most of the evidence is circumstantial because any legit evidence was never looked into. So it's like lost. It's gone. For all I know, they've destroyed it. Now, while I struggle to find any concrete evidence that Nikki and Gino had a relationship other than phone calls and attending the same high school and maybe being in the same social circles, I did find concrete evidence of a relationship between Nicole Kessinger and William Biscay. Because when I
What? Hold on.
can call it a coincidence, but I call it a pattern. Now, before you go off and say, oh, well, this is all speculation, blah, blah, blah. And that's the problem with this case. Most of the evidence is circumstantial because any legit evidence was never looked into. So it's like lost. It's gone. For all I know, they've destroyed it. Now, while I struggle to find any concrete evidence that Nikki and Gino had a relationship other than phone calls and attending the same high school and maybe being in the same social circles, I did find concrete evidence of a relationship between Nicole Kessinger and William Biscay. Because
What kind of relationship?
when I looked into Biscay's background, something that no one else covering this case has ever done,
Uh-oh.
I found that he owns a company called Beeline Acoustics and Interiors, LLC. That name probably means nothing to most people, but here's where things get interesting. In the mid-2000s, specifically around 2006, Beeline Acoustics had a bookkeeper. That bookkeeper's name? Nicole Kessinger.
Get the fudge out! What?
That's right. Not only was Nicole in contact with this man in 2018, during the time Chris Watts was planning and executing a murder, but she also worked for him years before. Now that's a long-standing connection.
So
now we have
workmates
William Biscay
relationship.
as the following. A man who owns a truck matching a suspicious vehicle seen near the Watts home. A man Nicole was speaking to in 2018. A man Nicole worked for over a decade earlier. I mean, that's not just a casual contact. That's someone she knew well enough to trust with her employment and still speak to years later during one of the most disturbing family annihilation cases in recent history. So the question becomes, why is Nicole Kessinger still talking to an old boss of hers? Why is a truck that William Biscay owned at the time matching the description of a
I can tell you I don't talk with any of the people that I used to work for, besides Army buddies. So, That's very. This girl knows how to dive. Holy
suspicious
cow!
vehicle showing up in the Watts neighborhood where no one recognizes it. And if it is the truck, what was he doing there, tossing out beer cans and then coming back to them like he didn't want to leave behind evidence? Now here's where things are going to get a little more complicated.
Oh,
I complicated this case enough for everyone with my multiple parts and episodes, because I'm not
I'm here for the ride. I love it. This girl knows what she's doing.
entirely convinced that William Biscay, if that was his truck, was the one actually driving it, and the man seen getting out of it near the Watts home. And here's why. Like I said earlier, William Biscay would have been around 59 or 60 years old in 2018. Not impossible, but not quite the profile that witnesses described. They said the man they saw was wearing a hoodie and a baseball cap turned backward.
He had like a backwards cap on,
Yeah.
like a hoodie.
Yeah, maybe
Older,
20s,
younger, white
30s.
male.
And that detail stuck with me. At the time, I couldn't think of anyone matching that description. But after watching interviews of
Oh my gosh! She's connecting it with this guy. Holy mother! Because you wouldn't see, statistically, a 60-ish man having a backwards cap and a hoodie. What the fudge? This is getting a little scary, I'm not gonna lie.
Gino, and seeing many photos of Gino, he appears to more often than not be wearing a hoodie and a backwards baseball cap.
And Gino would have been able to drink at that time. I mean, you don't drink and drive. Nope, naughty, never. Wow.
And when I looked at the phone records again, I noticed something else that was strange.
Oh my gosh.
Just before the murders, Nicole Kessinger spoke with William Biscay and then Gino Shvedov back to back, almost like she was part of a conversation involving the both of them. And that's when it hit me. What if it wasn't William driving that truck at all? What if it was Gino behind the wheel of this Ford Ranger? Think about it. William owns the truck. Gino fits the physical description. Nicole is in contact with both of them just before the murders and after the murders as well, if we want to be technical. That kind of overlap of people, vehicles, timelines, behavior isn't normal. Could Gino have been watching the Watts home? Could he have been involved in the disposal of something or someone on that street? And how
UMTC, you are on it. Holy moly.
deeply was Nicole Kessinger entangled with both of these men who now sit just outside the official narrative of this case? The further I dig, the more this looks less like a tragic crime of passion and more like a network of secrets. And the truck? That might have been the first clue that someone else was right there in the dark, watching it all unfold. So, let's look at where we are.
Holy
Nicole
moly.
Kessinger was in contact with two men in the days leading up to the Watts murders. One of them, William Biscay, owned a truck that matches the exact description of the one spotted near the Watts home. A truck linked to a man who was acting strange, dumping out a beer in a beer can and then coming back for it like he realized he left something behind. But then Nikki also spoke with Gino, a man who fits the physical description far more closely. The hoodie, the backwards baseball cap, the physical build. And the kicker, Nicole used to work for William Biscay back in 2006 as his bookkeeper. Now, you can say what you want about all of this being speculation, because a lot of it is. But
it's speculation, but it's creepy speculation. Holy moly.
are not random contacts. They are long-term connections. And no one Not law enforcement, not the media, not the official narrative has ever addressed any of them until now. This is not just about what happened in Frederick, Colorado. It's about who else knew and why they have been quiet for so long. As always, the deeper we dig, the more questions we uncover. Was Nicole Kessinger just a bystander in a deadly lie?
No.
Or something much more calculated? That's up for you to decide. There is still so much more to come. And if you're still here, then you've got that same hunger for truth as I do. So before you go, please don't forget to like, subscribe, drop your theory in the comment section below, especially if it's about something other people aren't talking about. Please get out and enjoy your life. Get out in nature. Do what makes you happy. Life is short, but it can also be very long. And it is so important that you are taking care of yourself. Please have a great rest of your week or weekend. Please be safe, be happy, be healthy, and most of all, be unapologetically you.
Credits: First Step of Murder, Behind Criminal Minds, What's the Obsession, Crime Talk. Zav Girl, ATS News, Law and Crime Network, Mommy Ramblings blog, and Geneva. To anyone I left out, feel free to let me know. I will gladly add your link in the description below. Wow, this girl knows. Like, I don't know how much more of a coincidence you can get. It literally gave me goosebumps. Like, the way that she... Holy moly. And did I say it was mine? No, it is all UMTC's work. I'm just here for the show to add my 2 cents. Holy crap, we need to bring NK in yesterday. No, we needed to bring her in 7 years ago. I can't wait to see the part 1 or the part 4, episode 1. I think I should go back and take a look at it just to watch it. I don't know. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Go give this woman some love. Subscribe, comment, like, and share. This woman, I'm surprised, is not a journalist herself. I don't know what she actually does, but holy crap, she did a fantastic job. Again, I thank you guys for being here. Please take care. Be safe. As always, keep nerding on, and we will see you guys in the next video.